right, man. It's all about relationships. We still got my man, Yo Jeff. Yo Jeff Carroll, you there? Yo Jeff.
That's what's up. That's what's up.
Jeff, man, you killing me, man. The king of elevator music, John Legend, huh?
Oh, yeah. Michael Bublé and Harry Connick, Frank Sinatra, take your seat. Sit down.
I know, right? How appropriate.
Everybody hail the new king in town.
I know. How appropriate for the Ray Rice situation. Now, you know, we're talking about Ray Rice and him, you know, delivering the knockout blow to his then girlfriend turned wife, mother of his child, named after the team he just lost the contract for. You imagine that, dude? They got a daughter named Raven. And now, what? This is, all right, okay. I get beside myself. Jeff, before the break, you said that you didn't see much of a connection between a young boy being violent towards, not really violent, but hitting girls when they're young. You didn't see a relationship between a young man hitting a girl when she's young and becoming abusive towards women when he gets older. Man, talk about that a little more, because I kind of disagree with that.
Well, the stats on it, you know, you were talking now, male abusers, more so, yes. But in terms of the boy and girl fighting, does that fighting roll over into a fighting relationship? That is a little bit more newer. Boys and girls didn't fight like they fight now 20 years ago, okay? So that's what's newer. In terms of males abusing women, well, a lot of the male abuse is from power. And little boys don't have jobs. They don't have money. They don't have a house.
Right.
Their ability to exert power over a young girl is not on the level that a man has the ability to do, because most little girls live with their parents or someone who takes care of them. So, hello?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so that separates the stats. Now, in terms of the fighting, and even the females who exhibit aggressive behavior to boys, again, those things I don't have stats on. You know, I don't know of the stats.
Forget the stats. What about your personal opinion?
In my gut, I always feel that, I'm a dating coach. I talk about dating history, and that speaks to your personal history. So I definitely believe a lot of the things that you do, like cheating and name calling and ridiculing, are things that you do before you start in long-term relationships. So I believe there is a connection. Can I prove it? No. But yes, I do believe it. Should I tell you to be concerned with it and look out for it? Of course. Whether it's provable or not, nothing wrong with being a little mindful and careful and talking to somebody and saying, yo, you know, what happened to your last relationship? You know what I'm saying? Let me find out how your last girlfriend went. You know? So again, those are things that I would say to do. Yes.
Now let's take this car down another street. Let's talk about the NFL's culpability in it and the discussion that has come up whether or not the NFL knew about the extent of the incident, meaning that if the NFL knew that he knocked that girl out and drug her out, and the extent of the situation, that if the NFL knew that the NFL reacted too slow, and that now Roger Goodell should lose his job the same way that Ray Rice lost his job. What are your views? What do you consider in terms of that, you being a social critic?
Well, the wife doesn't work for the NFL, so I don't know if they can do anything to aid her. You can't mandate divorce. You can't mandate and prevent people from getting married. So that definitely couldn't happen in terms of making his job and taking away his life, livelihood. Yeah, sure. I think there's definitely nothing wrong with that. But I do think they have to maintain some consistency, and I don't know if this level of their penalty is consistent with many of the other things that they've penalized people for in terms of doing harm to other people. Regardless of whether...
Now stop right there. The word is consistency, right? Now,
yep.
That's the question that I'm raising. it would be consistent that those who tried to make the issue not as big, right? How do I say no?
Right.
They tried to cover it up and say, well, he hit her, he was suspended for 2 games. But if they saw the whole video, and there's more and more stuff that's coming out that's saying, oh my God, it's terrible, everything, that they saw the whole thing. Now, should Roger Goodell be held responsible consistently with the punishment that Ray Rice got? Should that be happening? Should the NFL, should his coach be called to question? Who else should be held responsible for this? That's what I'm talking about.
Well, I will say this. We know more about what took place in that elevator than what took place in the Ravens office and in the NFL office. So I can't really comment because we don't know when they saw the video. We have ideas that they're putting down a lot of penalties. However, they're all biased. Right. The league is trying to protect the league. The coach is trying to protect his team and his player. This guy, Ray Rice, was an all-star who was coming back to glory. He didn't make it back yet, so they really hope that he can be as good as he was a year ago. So again, I don't know. I just know as an activist, I kind of can be happy that they did something. You know what I'm saying? There have been other men in sports and entertainment and just in work world who, does IBM fire every male from their company that's abusive to women? So if the NFL should be held accountable, then so should the United States government, the post office. And then that penalty should happen to cops. You know what I'm saying? So as an activist for victims' rights and against abuse, then I want it more universal. I don't even want to stop at the NFL. If the NFL kicked them off out of the league, then so should Yahoo. Yahoo? You know what I'm saying? So should your local business.
All right. Well, saying that, Jeff, I had a suggestion, and you mentioned you being an activist and you being involved, with promoting, advocating for healthy relationships. Now, I have a suggestion. Tell me what you think about this. I think that Ray Rice and his wife should come out and make a plea. And Ray Rice, you mentioned his livelihood was taken away, and already almost 70% of NFL, no, not 70%, the majority of NFL athletes are broke after 7 years after they leave the league. So what this cat is going to do after this, with his name being maligned, etc., time will tell, and Lord knows that relationship is probably not going to last. They need mad counseling right now. So my suggestion, Jeff, is, and I tell this to the world, and y'all call in and tell me what you think, 305-479-2969. I think that Ray Rice and his wife should make a plea to the NFL, to women's organizations, to say, me, Ray Rice, am going to give 40% of my salary to women's causes, women's associations, and my wife is going to become a spokesperson for battered women, etc. And let's make a real reality show. I'm not saying just profit off of this, but just like because TMZ, man, coming off like a fat cat and all of this, right? So I think Ray Rice and his wife should become poster children for how a couple and a family can amend after a situation like this. And why shouldn't he give 40%, 30%, 60% of his multi-million-dollar contract back to women's issues, and his wife come out and they play out this thing in front of the world? What do you think about that? You think that's possible? You think that that's viable? What's your opinion on that?
Okay, let me play woman abuse advocate. Okay? As a woman abuse advocate, I believe that she's in an abusive relationship. So that negates her ability to say anything, because she will get beat up if she goes against the wishes of her abuser. So therefore, that takes her out of any plea deal or any type of defense for her family.
So you don't. Now, but Jeff, you don't think? Go ahead. I'm sorry to cut you off. Okay. But I was gonna say, you don't think that in front of the world, man, that they're going through this kind of stuff. She's already been given a platform to speak her free mind, because we already know he be knocking her out. That he knocked her out.
But if you're in if you're an abused woman, you can't say anything because you're being controlled. You're being abused. And that is the framework for abuse. That's why we don't talk to rape victims. They should not have to defend themselves about, being raped. And just, okay, let me give you another analogy. And this is what we use all the time, since you're a pro-black man like myself, okay? Police officers that beat up black men, they get caught. They may not have killed them. Let's not make it a killing. But they just beat them up real bad, right? What should their What should their road to recuperating their livelihood be? As a black man, would you say the cops that beat Rodney King should be allowed to become cops again and donate 40% of their pay to the United Negro College Fund?
You know what? That's a good question, because right now I'm questioning how come the cop who killed Mike Brown is still on administrative leave and getting paid.
Well, we're on the same side of that subject.
Yeah,
but when you talk about an abuser given a second chance, what is the road of recovery or the road to working again for other victimizers?
See, But I think we're talking different, because the cop that kills or that abuses a person is somebody that's being paid by taxpayer dollars, right? But when you're talking about a domestic relationship between a man and a woman who make a commitment till death do us part, through richer or for poor, for better or for worse, that's a whole other conversation than the cop who's getting paid.
You bring in a whole nother conversation of values. One, we have the governmental view of marriage, and then we have the religious view of marriage. And we almost want to say, well, who the heck was the minister that married them, knowing the history of their relationship?
But a minister doesn't necessarily know that. I'm just saying that.
Then a good minister would find that out. I understand what you're saying, but they had both been arrested as an engaged couple in Atlantic City for a domestic dispute. They were arrested. They weren't, just rumored. The video wasn't an issue, but they were arrested as an engaged couple.
I don't really see the correlation in taking your marriage vows and making that pledge and saying that that's religious, because that's really, there's nothing religious about saying till death do us part, for better or for worse, in sickness or in health. That's a contractual agreement. That's not religious. That's just saying that, look, man, we gonna stick it through.
The justice of the peace agreement doesn't deal with sickness and health. I don't think it has vows. It just signs a tax paperwork for you all to be able to file joint taxes. It doesn't have anything. All of the till death do us part, that's religious. That's where you hear it in the church. But in your justice of a peace union, there's no vows to it. So again, all of that aside, should they be put in a situation? I would defer that to their religious people, because again, we can't mandate how you live your marriage. We can limit the things you can do to another human being, but how do you unify your family? As long as you don't touch each other, we can't really, there's limits to what we want to impose upon our citizens as a free country. And I understand, we want to do different things as black men or just as men in general, but, again, we treading into, uncharted waters.
You're right. It's definitely uncharted waters, man. And I don't just going back. So you don't think that it would be better for him to give up X amount of dollars from his salary to go towards domestic violence issue? You don't think that that's a good remedy to help to, for his personal situation, as well as the healing of a nation, man? That is, that this is a bigger story. This is a bigger story than the fact that Barack Obama last night spoke about the new U.S. Involvement in Iraq. I mean, this story is bigger than that right there.
Of course.
So
this has real far-reaching. And you know, the sad thing is, you might be on to a new way of handling these situations. But because we have so many domestic abuse cases, particularly with men and women, he may have to be the fall guy. He may just have to be the example that shows you how much you can lose. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. That's important too. As a matter of fact, yo, Jeff, man, we're gonna go off into this next video, man. We gotta wrap this up. Plug your book right quick, man. Tell people where they can find you at.
Well, my book, The Hip Hop Dating Guide, is available on Amazon, on Amazon Kindle and Amazon physical book. So please Google The Hip Hop Dating Guide. Check out Video Mix Facebook page because I got a bunch of links on that. And just Google Yo Jeff and check out my blog. It's good to talk to you, my brother. I appreciate this chance to share my thoughts and to reach people. So you guys are doing a real great thing there, man. I look forward to the next conversation, and maybe you can be over something that is not something bad that happened.
Yeah, you know what next time you come on, you know what I want to talk about, man? Gold Digger Killer. yo, man, hey, that's that. Yo, for those who don't know, man, that's the first movie directed by Jeff Carroll. It's a hip hop horror movie called Gold Digger Killer. We gonna go off into this next video, Jeff. You know what we got that's perfect for this, man? Yo, we got Lauryn Hill, man. This is coming up. Yo, this is Everything is Everything. Stay tuned. Eton Thomas coming up.